well. I give money every Sunday. And they'll list off these things. But the problem is their trust is in the wrong place. The problem is they're hoping in the wrong thing. See, there are people who say, Lord, Lord, and they say, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? Did we not cast out demons in your name? Did we not do many mighty works in your name? But Jesus says, I never knew you. You see, there's people who trust in themselves for salvation. They trust in their own good works. And Jesus says those people, they will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. See, those people, they think they're saved, and you ask them why, and they say, well, I'm a good person, I do these good things. Look at all the good, wonderful things I do for God. See, some people, they don't truly love God, they don't truly know Him. They just simply want to escape hell. There's people who want to be in heaven. I mean, everyone wants to go to a place where it's perfect, don't they? Everyone wants to avoid pain. But not everyone loves the God of heaven. Not everyone wants to worship Him as Lord. And not everyone who says they're a Christian truly does. And a lot of good people say, I'm a Christian because I do these good works. So I'm a Christian because I was baptized. I'm a Christian because I go to church. I'm a Christian because I'm part of the Church of Christ. Jesus says to some people, depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. It's heartbreaking. This is horrible that some people would be like that. It's horrible that our churches could have people in it that think they're okay, when in reality they are headed straight for hell. It's a horrible thought. But Jesus says it's true. He says that happens. There are people who say to me, Lord, Lord, who will not be in heaven. And so this morning, I really want to awaken something in you. I really want you to feel this. I want you to examine yourself, and I want you to realize how serious this is. Because I want to make sure you're really a Christian. I want to make sure you really are saved. I want to make sure that when you say to Jesus, Lord, Lord, you mean it. And so I want to look at, for a little bit, what does it look like to actually be a real Christian? You know, the people who are not true believers, they appeal to their good works. They say, I'm a good person, I go to church, I do these good things in your name. But that's not what a Christian should say. You know, one of my favorite verses, in fact, it probably is my favorite verse in the Bible, is 2 Corinthians 5:21. It says, He made Him who knew no sin to be sin, so that we might become the righteousness of God. It says, the perfect Son of God came to earth. He had no sin at all, but God made Him our sin. He made Him my sin so that I might become the righteousness of God. And if you're truly a Christian, if someone says, how do you know? You don't say, because I do these good things. You don't say, because I'm a good person. You say, because I believe in Jesus. You say, because I trust Jesus Christ, because I know that He came to earth. He took my sin, and He made it possible for me to be righteous before a perfectly holy and just God. You can know you're a Christian when you are fully dependent on Jesus Christ for your salvation and nothing else. Because you can trust in other things. You can trust in good works. You can trust in whatever tradition you grew up in. You can trust in your spiritual habits. But in the end, the only thing that is going to matter is, do you know Jesus? Because you know what He said to those people? He said, depart from me, I never knew you. And you know, in this context, when He says the word know, He's talking about an intimate, loving relationship. You know, it's like, when we would say, Adam knew his wife Eve. I mean, yes, that's talking about sexual relations, but it's something deeper than that. It's also talking about the love and the intimacy between that husband and wife. It's talking about how they know each other more than anyone else possibly does. And that's what Jesus is talking about here. He's talking about that loving intimacy, that relationship, that deep knowledge of each other. And he says, I never knew you. Now the reason he never knew those people is because they never knew him. See, he doesn't know them because he refuses to not know them. He doesn't know them because they refuse to know him, because they refuse to love him. I love what it says in Hosea, chapter 6, verse 3. It says, let us know, let us press on to know the Lord. His going out is as sure as the dawn. He will come to us as the showers, as the spring rains that water the earth. He says, he's talking to Israel in a context when they kept going after other gods, and he said they were adulterous, they were unfaithful. And what he tells Israel to do is he says, know the Lord. He says, press on to know the Lord, to have that loving, faithful, committed relationship with him. And he says he will come to you as sure as there's rain in the springtime. As sure as the dawn every morning, God will come to you when you press on to know him. Jesus said, whoever comes to me, I will never drive away. I will never cast out. See, there are people who God says, I never knew you to, but that is because they never knew him. So right now, I just want us, with Hosea, to say, we are going to press on to know the Lord, to love him with all our heart, all our soul, all our mind, and all our strength. Because that is the only thing that will ever truly matter. And if you do not know the Lord, if you do not love him, then he will say, depart from me. I never knew you, you worker of lawlessness. And we've seen what we have seen all throughout the Sermon on the Mount. That you can follow the rules, but if your heart is not right, it's all in vain. You can obey every rule. You can cross every T and dot every I. You can follow the teaching of the Bible, but if you do not love God, if you do not know him, if your heart is not right, it's all in vain. It's worthless. If you do not know God, you will be a worker of lawlessness. No matter what you do, if you do not love God, he will say, depart from me, I never knew you. See, I know that I'm a Christian. But I know that not because I'm a good person. Not because I have any merit or worth in me. In fact, I know that I'm worthless. I know that I'm undeserving of God's grace and mercy. But because of God's amazing grace and mercy, he made him who knew no sin to be sin so that I might become the righteousness of God. Because of God's mercy, he offered his own son as a sacrifice so that I could be in heaven one day. The only reason I know that I'm a Christian is because I am completely and utterly dependent on Jesus Christ for my salvation and nothing else. Because no one comes to the Father except through him. And so because of that, I hope my life will reflect that in obedience and bearing fruit. But I don't think I'm saved because of obedience. I don't think I'm saved because of my fruit, because fruit can be deceitful. So I just want to make sure that your heart's right. I just want to make sure that you are pressing on to know the Lord. And if you're not a Christian today, I really don't have anything else to say to you. Except that there's nothing more important than this. There's no decision that matters more. And I just want you, with us, to be able to press on to know the Lord, love the Lord, because there's no hope apart from him. No one gets to the Father except